So you just finished the shoot. Maybe it was an event. Maybe it was something just having fun with your friends and making something cool. But you got lots of clips and you're not entirely sure where to start. Well, that was me this past week. I had, our church had Easter baptisms and we had 23 candidates get baptized, which was awesome. And my buddy and my friend and I, Oliver, shot close to 240 clips. And I needed to make a video in just under 2 days to be shown on this upcoming Sunday. And so I applied something I call the Lego method, which really helps me build the best foundation possible for my video to make it as easy and as efficient as possible for me to get in the creative flow and get that video done. Let me explain. So you come home from the Lego store or Walmart or whatever. You put your box or bag onto your dining room table. Maybe you have a spot where you specifically build Lego. I don't. You open the bag or box and you pour out all the pieces. Maybe this is a multi-bag set and we're not savages here. We open one bag at a time if it asks for bag one. But even then, all the pieces are kind of mixed in the box and you're not entirely sure where the pieces are. And you need the fifth tiny little piece, but it's somewhere in the box you can't find. This seems like a lot like video editing. And this is kind of what I felt like when I was trying to build a video this week. So let me explain to you the Lego method and how really we should be organizing our pieces prior to building. Let's hop in Resolve. Now there are 3 methods I would use to build the best foundation possible to get you creative, staying in that creative flow for as long as possible, and building the best video possible. Let me explain. So on Easter Sunday, man, I don't even know how many shots we shot there. Oliver and I, shout out to Oliver being an awesome dude who helped me on that day. I shot 154 clips. Oliver shot, I don't even know how many is in here, 133 clips or so. So there's a lot of footage we need to work through. Where do we start? Well, the easiest way I find is we're gonna make a timeline. There's a couple here. Little spoiler, I'm gonna start in the edits. Now in here, the first method is you need to work through all of your footage. You got to spend some time looking through it all, finding what shots look good. I'm skipping forward because there's some shots I like ahead here. And you're going to make sure that you essentially fill your edits timeline with all of the good footage you think is usable. Okay, so let's jump into this clip, for example. Again, work through all of it. I'm skipping ahead for time's sake where, okay, maybe I could use this cross in a shot here. Maybe. You're going to be kind of picky, but part of this is just to get something on the timeline and get started, all right? Now, this comes down to some hotkeys. If you don't have that set up from what I'm about to show you, hit DaVinci Resolve, keyboard customization, okay? Make sure you remember that. For this, I'm gonna use 3 different keys on my keyboard, I, O, and P, okay? So I sets my in point, O sets my out point, and P appends it onto my timeline. If I zoom in here, it's right here. So it'll append it to the end of the next clip. So maybe I'm gonna jump to this one. I was getting a bit of the tank. We've got some people talking here. Again, in, out, place. You see how that then appended here? So you're gonna do that for all of your clips. This first method, this first part takes the longest out of the other 2 methods, but it is critically important for you to actually review all the footage because I promise you, I know we, as videographers, cinematographers, whatever, we're like, man, there's a couple banger clips in there, but you need to find the bones, how we're gonna actually structure this story. Another thing I like to do, which jumps into method number 2, while I'm working on this, while I'm going in, out, and appended to all of my clips, I'm marking specific clips that I think are good. Maybe it's a sound bite. Maybe it's just the composition of, maybe like, man, this looks really, really cool. So for me, let's jump to, I don't know, let's jump to this shot maybe. And we have everybody hanging out backstage. I like the smiles kind of thing, in, out, P for append. So how do we apply a marker? I'm gonna select my clip. I'm gonna press M once. You see the marker kind of pop up. M a second time, and you actually get this little pop-up window. And so for me, how I do this is I pretty much just say what I liked about this, smiles, good emotion. And then in the notes here, could use as a transitional piece, something like that. I typically color it whatever I feel necessary. When I say what I mean by that is it's kind of a project by project basis. There's a couple I tend to use. I tend to think the gold one is like, I'm probably going to end up using this clip in the final edit. I don't know, for me, I see, maybe the light blue is great. Maybe the red is hard to use, something like that. I would apply your own legend to this. Typically, I keep like a sticky note on my desk that says these colors mean what. For this one, we'll leave it as gold. I'm thinking I could use this in the edit. All right. So the second method is, as you're working through all of this, you're going to add markers to clips that you think are good, right? Maybe it's a specific point of the shot, but I would be descriptive. Part of the reason why we do this is that when I'm actually editing a video and putting stuff onto my timeline with music and everything, I don't want to have to watch through all my stuff over and over again. The markers are a pretty clear indicator to jump to that point, and I'm probably going to use it in some capacity, or I can at least read my notes and understand what I was thinking of when I was looking through it. We're trying to save ourselves time here. I don't want you to have to rewatch your clips over and over and over again to find the right one. Markers are a big, big help in that. Okay. So you're going to in and out and place work through all your footage, in and out, place them. Then you're going to put markers as you're working through them. And now we're going to jump to method number 3, the final method, to really start to put together our foundation for building this video. And so at this point, at least in the Lego method, we have taken all the pieces out of the box. We've opened it. We put everything onto our timeline, and we've found some special pieces we kind of like. Maybe it's like one of the glowing crystals. Maybe it's, I don't know, there's a unique piece you're going to use for later because it's a major component of it. But now it's time to really start to organize our pieces on color, on style, and on type. Okay, let's get to that next timeline. So jump back to my timeline. We're going to jump to my cuts timeline because I'm going to skip so much extra time. So in here, essentially what I've done for this Easter Sunday is I've gone and labeled and color-coded different events that have happened. Okay, so for one, this teal color is when they're all getting baptized, they're all getting dunked. My nomenclature is kind of interesting for some of these, right? I've taken all the footage of them getting dunked. I've color-coded them teal. So how to color-code them? If you select your clips, and you right click and we go clip color, and you can see how I've selected teal. I could select lime, for example. I want to keep them on teal just because I've then labeled them teal. I've then applied a marker above them called the dunk. And now how do we apply a marker above? If we come over here on my timeline, if you don't select any clip and you press M, it'll put a marker on your timeline. Press M again, and yeah, we could label this the dunk. And I typically try to then label or color code it to match the footage, all right? And then if you want to see, you can just select and drag the marker back and forth. If you want to open it kind of like this, if you hold Option or Alt on your keyboard and you press it, you can open it to kind of house the footage underneath, if that makes sense, all right? So I'm going to press M. I'm going to remove the marker because I don't need that there. So we do that through all the footage. So for me, I knew we had the dunk, we had prayer moments, worship shots. I called the portion banger shots and made it gold because I knew I was probably going to use a handful of these shots in here. We have miscellaneous because not everything fit. We have footage of the various baptism candidates that were happening. And then we had great audio bites. And again, I'd recommend so much so recording your audio bites. And like you can see some of my markers in here. I think I deleted so many of the markers because I was already working through them on my timeline. But you're going to color code all your footage. You're going to work through all of your in and out points. You're going to color code them. And you might be like, hey, Josh, there's no way it's going to end like this working through the timeline because I have organized these afterwards. And you're right. So you're going to have like a teal clip and then a purple clip and then a yellow clip and then a green clip. How do we make them all neat like this? Well, you could select each individual one. That takes way too much time. There's a significantly easier way to do that. We're going to jump to timeline. We're going to jump to select clips by clip color. And if you select any of these, it'll naturally select it for you. And then you can just click and drag it out, delete the spaces in between, and then you can see how you assemble each piece. So for example, if I want to select teal, you see how it selects everything. You can just click and drag all of it. I don't have to select or move anything. It just does all that for me. Much easier. Please do the whole timeline, select clip by clip color and pick from that. Please don't have to review every single shot. So you can see here, great moment with Linda, big smiles. Keep your notes, folks. Keep your notes. This is important, right? If we come to banger shots, cool movement should be used. Before we hit the tank, gives momentum. We like this one. We knew this was going to be a great transition clip. And so from here, after I've organized all my clips, this is where the fun gets to happen. And you get to essentially look at your sorted Lego pieces. You get to look at all your sorted things and start to assemble your timeline. And there's a really cool way to do that in Resolve. I'm sure all the other editing suites can do the same. You see my little tabs up here? Well, Resolve has a great tool to be able to allow you to have multiple timelines above. So let me show you how that works. If you don't see these tabs up here, if you hit this little checkbox here and hit display stacked timelines, mine will just disappear for a second. It'll show you the tabs. And then to the far right of your window, there's this little kind of plus sign over here. If you click that, it'll then open a secondary timeline. So how I work typically is I'll have my prime timeline up here. I'll have my cuts timeline down here. And the best part about this, let's just give ourselves a bit more real estate here. I typically work on 2 screens, so this is a pretty tight window. But the best part about this is like, let's say we're working in here and I'm like, yep, I really like this clip. You just click and drag and, whoa, what is Resolve doing? Okay, first off, that was crazy. Let's click off the mixer there because that was strange. Let's open up to cuts again. I've never seen that happen. Click and drag your clip. Easy, you know, you're working, you're like, man, I really feel like this spot could use something. Let's go look for it. I think you could use some worship shots. Great. You're looking here in your worship shot and you just click and drag up. It's so easy to do it that way. And look, John's in there slamming away at the drums, okay? This is what I call the Lego method, organizing your clips, making it easier for you to stay in that creative flow. I'd recommend doing it. Conventionally, little fun fact for you all, in terms of color coding your clips, typically people do that, or in the industry, they do that based off of frame rate. So if you had 24, 30, 60, 120, 240, you would actually color code to match that, which would make it easier to look on your timeline and know which clip is slow-mo or not. For Oliver and I, we shot everything in 23.976 frames per second, so I didn't feel the need to do that. But I would recommend, if you're working by yourself, color code how you think you should. If you're working with a team, don't be surprised if they ask for that, okay? I think that's it. That's the Lego method in DaVinci Resolve, how I organize my videos to get to editing faster and more efficiently, and let me build what I think is a pretty awesome video in a very short time frame. So if you want to see it, check out Stack's YouTube channel. It's going to air this Sunday. It's really exciting. So yeah, that's all I have for this week's video. The secret word of this video is going to be Bionicle. If you know what that is, real MVP, real shout out to you. I think it's very fitting for what the Lego method is. Awesome. Okay, if you got questions, comment them down below. Appreciate you all. We just broke 800 subscribers. Super exciting. Thank you all for subscribing and sharing and liking these videos. Comment. Comment what you're working on. I love to hear about that. So that's it. Okay, end the video. We'll see you next week. Bye.